Is coronavirus turning Britain into a police state? London drones filming couples as they walk their dogs through the countryside, drivers sent to court after being spotted on the road, a lawmaker admonished in public for dropping in on his father's 78th birthday. The coronavirus crisis has upended norms in almost every Western society, giving rise to ways of life that would have seemed unimaginably Orwellian just a month ago. But in the United Kingdom, there is a unique growing concern around draconian tactics and overreach by police forces since Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced lockdown measures on March 23. Police in the town of Warrington in northern England were criticised last weekend for issuing a citation to 6 people for a variety of apparently minor acts. One recipient was out for a drive due to boredom, the force said on Twitter Sunday, while a group of people from the same household were stopped by officers for going to the shops for non-essential items. Several other forces have publicized details of their own similar responses, which include spot road checks on anyone seen driving. Meanwhile, a trade body for convenience store workers said heavy-handed officers were telling shopkeepers they couldn't stock Easter eggs, lashing out at overzealous enforcement and a misreading of the rules. Figures from across the political spectrum have raised concerns. A former UK Supreme Court Justice, Jonathan Sumption, warned British policing risks slipping into territory usually occupied by authoritarian regimes and dictatorships. This is what a police state is like, Sumption told BBC Radio on Monday. It is a state in which a government can issue orders or express preferences with no legal authority, and the police will enforce ministers' wishes. Legislation speedily introduced. Shapps, the transport secretary, told Sky News on Tuesday that the police are doing a difficult job and they are doing it well, though he added, "I am sure there are individual examples where perhaps you look at it and think that is perhaps a bit further than they should have gone." But sensing the mounting concern over officers' approach, one of the UK's most senior police officers urged colleagues on Monday to maintain the trust and confidence of the public. "How we police this pandemic will be remembered for many years to come," Assistant Commissioner Neil Basu wrote in an opinion piece in the Telegraph newspaper. Calls for clarity. Media reports on Tuesday suggested that the UK's National Police Chiefs Council, NPCC, was issuing new guidelines to forces in the wake of mounting complaints, although a spokesperson for the NPCC disputed those suggestions in an email to CNN. "We are not rewriting our guidance. It remains the same as it was. Engage, explain, encourage and finally enforce," the spokesperson said. "This is a fast-changing situation, and we, along with the public, are adapting as we go forward." Nonetheless, some legal experts have pointed to widespread confusion and an overly harsh interpretation of the government's lockdown measures as the cause of alleged overreach. Some police think that their job is to enforce the government's guidance, when in fact their job is to enforce the law, Raphael Hogarth, an associate at the Institute for Government think tank, said on Twitter. "The law is that you may not leave home without a reasonable excuse. The legislation gives non-exhaustive examples of such excuses. Some police forces seem to be using their powers without any regard to the purpose for which these powers were conferred," he added. "The purpose of the legislation is to stop the virus spreading by stopping unnecessary inter-household contact." Indeed, confusion about what is and is not enforceable in the government's hastily prepared lockdown legislation has been apparent even among lawmakers. Labour MP Stephen Kinnock fell foul of his local police force after posting a picture showing him celebrating the birthday of his father, the now retired former leader of the opposition Labour Party, Neil Kinnock. "We know celebrating your dad's birthday is a lovely thing to do, however this is not essential travel," South Wales Police told him over Twitter. Although Kinnock was sitting a sizable distance from his parents, the government's restrictions specify that people should not visit relatives unless it is essential. "We need to be really careful here," Liberal Democrat lawmaker Layla Moran said on Twitter, responding to complaints that convenience stores were being told they could not stock non-essential Easter eggs. "Making a trip only for an Easter egg is clearly against the rules. But picking one up with the bigger shop for the kids? The government needs to give sharper guidance for local authorities and police on the application of the new laws," she added. Click subscribe to receive the latest news.